They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
Oh, if Jeremy Hill can hold on to a fucking football.
That doesn't make sense.
You're listening to the P&E Bengals Fan Podcast.
3, 2, 1.
All right, what's up, Pete? All right, what's up, Pete?
What is up, E? I'm very excited about the Week 1 win in New York, and I'm looking forward to Steeler Week. I'm looking for a lot of things in this game. But, I guess, first of all, we should probably try to cover Week 1 a little bit before we move on, because I know the excitement of Steeler Week overtakes us. But how are you feeling about that Week 1 win?
Man, that was a close one. I was sweating bullets for a minute there. I think everybody was.
Well, yeah, it was definitely tight. I mean, it was. I guess we should have known it was going to be I actually thought they were going to win by 10 points, but their D-line was just murdering us. It was a tough game. It was a lot tougher than I thought it would be, but I really liked the grit and the determination they had to win that game, because that defensive line of the Jets was just basically outpowering us, and we still found a way to scratch it out. So that was nice.
Exactly. On another note, A.J. Green just put on a clinic, didn't he?
Oh, man, dude. Like, if Darrelle Revis has ever gotten to a point in his career where he might want to retire, he just got that notice on Sunday, because either that or he's going to have to start playing a reduced role in his own type defense, because his days of covering the top receivers one-on-one apparently is over, because A.J. Green, oh my God, he just toasted that dude all day long.
It's just nice to see A.J. Green taking care of business like that, because that's not always the case. Some days he's quiet, but it's just nice for him to put on a performance like that going into the season. We don't have a ton of help. We got people injured and all that, so he made a statement himself.
Well, he knows he has to carry some of the load, until at least Tyler Eifert gets back. Because I think what's really cool right now, and a lot of people aren't thinking about, is the fact that with Tyler Eifert out, we are getting a really good chance of building up C.J. Uzomah. Yeah, so it was a tough game, and Revis got Chris beat up a little bit. I'm sure, they got to kind of rethink of how they're going to use him in that defense, because the defense is strong. And you're not going to come up on a receiver like A.J. Green every week, so I guess he can hold down the fort for another year, but if they have playoff aspirations, they're going to have to find another way to utilize him, because if you're talking about the top receiver, Julio Jones and people like that, I mean, it's, someone's going to burn him again.
Run game, I mean, everything goes downhill as far as that offensive line just getting creamed, but obviously the run game didn't look very good. But I tell you what, that run that Jeremy Hill ran in for that touchdown, man, he just knew he was getting in there. He was just steamrolling people into there for that. I think it was a 13-yard touchdown.
Yeah, it was a 12-yard touchdown. And, yeah, sure enough, he trucked that jet on the 3-yard line or something like that. Just, running like a man. That's what we've been looking for. Like last year, he was kind of jitterbugging it, apparently. And this year, it looks like he's coming in a lot more determined. I just didn't think that was a game that really obviously favored our running game. They just went away from it smartly, because they were just murdering our O-line on the pass protection. There's a good chance he's not going to be able to run very well either, because they're just blowing up the O-line. So I thought the touchdown they had I thought the blocking was really good on it. I thought that the whole set up well for Jeremy, and then once Jeremy got that full head of steam, it was Christmas, dude. He was just running over people. Obviously, we have to discuss the kicking game. Mike Nugent misses one, but Marcus Hunt gets in and blocks a field goal. That's big time.
That's big time for him.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying he's on the outskirts. Yeah, they're saying he's on the outskirts, and all of a sudden he's making that play. I think he batted down another pass. He was all over the place the other day.
Yeah, it looks like his off-season work, I believe, with Kevin Green, looks like that's coming to some fruition, which is great. So I was just talking to somebody about the fact that Marcus Hunt is on the outside looking in as far as the rotation, and the fact that he worked a lot with Kevin Green in the offseason, because the one thing I noticed in preseason was the fact that he's around the quarterback a whole lot more than he used to be. But he's only like maybe, a half second off to where he should be to be able to turn some of those pressures into sacks. So it looks like, on film that, he's starting to get it, because you're starting to see him in more action plays. But he still, to me, seems like he loses a half second somewhere. And because of it, some of those pass rushes could be sacks, if he can figure out how to cut that small bit of time off. Oh, and what I was saying earlier about C.J. Uzomah is I really love the fact that, I don't think many people are thinking about this, is the fact that once he's getting a chance right now to really contribute and develop. So now, Kroft comes back, Eifert comes back, and now you can really run just a ton of two tight end sets, just like, the Patriots did that year with the Murderer and and Gronk. And now that just completely opens the offense. I mean, opens it up for Boyd and LaFell and Green. Obviously opens it up for the running game, because now you get to play back a little bit more. Because they can run a two tight end set, and you can run anything out of that. You can run a pass play out of that, a run play. Whatever. So once they get, so developing C.J. Uzomah is just really key right now. It's going to really pay off for us as we go down the stretch.
Right, and I'll tell you one thing. I'm so happy to see that Brandon LaFell was actually taking care of business on Sunday. That's a sight for sore eyes right there, just because we didn't know what was going to happen with our receiving core this year. It's nice that he stepped up into that number 2 role and just went with it. He had like 91 yards.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said something about that, because I really wanted to touch on that. And the fact that you're right, Brandon LaFell was a huge question mark. At one point they're talking about he broke his hand and he's going to be done for the season. And here he does. He comes in and does what he's supposed to do. It's just to be a release valve for A.J. Green. And just so when you start concentrating on Green too much, you got another guy on the other side that can punish you a little bit. And apparently, LaFell played that role really well. And we'll see as we go along in the upcoming weeks against some tough defenses, what he's able to give us. But for game one, you have to be really pleased with what you got out of him, especially since most of the prognosticators, the experts, quote unquote, they were saying, because we're missing Jones and Sanu and Hugh Jackson, it's going to be a big drop-off. And I didn't really believe that then, and I don't believe it now. It's going to lead to some limiting of our play calling. But like I said, once you get Eifert back and Kroft back, now you're just building a monster right there. You're going to have so many people on the field that you have to account for, because you start double and triple covering A.J. Green, then you got, Eifert all day. And then if you want to shade over on Eifert, then, either C.J. Uzomah or Kroft or Boyd or LaFell, somebody's going to be open. And that's not even accounting Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard out of the backfield. So it's kind of like, come up and do what you do, but, just pick your poison. And so I really feel, I felt good about how Brandon LaFell played. I really did.
Yeah, he did a pretty good job. I want to take you back to one play in particular. This isn't Brandon LaFell. I just want to talk about A.J. Green real quick. There's a play in the third quarter where they pretty much ran a screen pass for him. Do you remember this pass? It's in the third quarter, and they're close to their own end zone. They're like the 20 or whatever, and they throw him this screen pass, and he weaves in and out of a couple of defenders, and then he cuts wide to the outside. And he looks over his shoulder just to make sure that, nobody was right next to him. And he didn't realize it, but he basically, on accident, ran out of bounds. But if he doesn't run out of bounds, I tell you what, that's like I think that I don't know where the safety was or anything like that in this situation, but that looked like he was clear for a touchdown. Did you see that or no?
Yeah, I know exactly what play you're talking about. And I will say this.
As soon as he turned his head and ran out of bounds, I was like, no. He didn't look like he was gone. He looked like he was ghost.
Yeah, he was ghost. And dude, if he doesn't stumble and fall out of bounds, dude, you're not catching A.J. Green at that point. He's gone. I will say this, I'm really excited that he went, AJ Green did, and put up that show on Revis this Sunday, because it kind of tells you that AJ Green and Dalton is at a point now where they're like, we don't care what cornerback you got.
Right. We're
like,
coming at you.
You know what I mean? Like, we're going to come get you. Like, and that is really exciting to see, because now you're talking about getting into that Joe Montana, Jerry Rice range, or Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison range, where those two guys just roll out of bed and they don't care who you got on the other team. They're just going to smoke you. And that's really positive. And I will, if AJ Green continues that, because Pittsburgh has a way of always shadowing our great receivers in a lot of different zone kind of things, schemes, and just kind of shadow people with 2 or 3 people while also having responsibilities elsewhere on the field. And that always seems to take away our big receivers, excuse me, including AJ Green, sometimes in some big games. And so I really hope that is the mentality they're carrying into this year. And I hope they go to Pittsburgh, and because obviously all the attention is going to be on Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown, because they're very prolific. And Antonio Brown is like just abusing people right now to just an extreme, ridiculous extent.
I don't even want to talk about it.
And I know, right? I'm sure you don't. But, I'm sure Dalton and Green want to go into this game and say to themselves, like, we are that way too. Like, because basically sometimes it looks like I don't care who you cover Antonio Brown with.
Exactly.
He's going to get open.
Yeah.
Like,
he's going to get his touches,
and that, easily. And, so I'm wondering if, like I said, if AJ Green and Dalton have reached that point in their careers where they know each other so well, it's just like rolling out of bed and let's just go toss the ball. Because if they have reached that point, then this offense opens up to a completely new dimension, and I mean, you're looking at basically an offensive machine that should be pretty much unstoppable. So, except for some holes on the O-line, our center is garbage, Bodine. And I don't really care what the coaches keep saying about Bodine, because they're always beefing him up when they criticize him in the media. And they're like, oh, Bodine is so good, you just don't know. And I'm looking at Bodine play like, yeah, you're right, I don't know. Because I've seen a lot of centers play the game of football in my life, and I'm pretty sure that is not Pro Bowl caliber. And not that every lineman can be Pro Bowl, but that is like barely starter capable. Like, if we had a really solid, center, man, we'd be in business. But, we'll see how it goes as the season goes on.
Well, let's talk about this defense for a minute here, because they were leaky. I'll tell you what, Matt Forte, running is his forte. He was all over the field.
No, I mean, Matt Forte is, he is who he's advertised. I was kind of wondering how much he has left, in those legs of his, but it looks like he's got plenty left in the tank, that's for sure.
I'm still surprised that the Bears let him go. He was such an intricate, he was such a great part of their offense. Their offense was basically like, it feels like it was built around him. And I understand they want to go younger. They like Jeremy Langford and all that. But, man, he's just such a dual threat, as we saw on Sunday, running it and catching it out of the backfield.
Yeah, he is. And but I don't blame Chicago. They were at a point where Matt Forte kind of ran his welcome out in Chicago. He was there 8-9 years, and yeah, he's great. But then you start to get weary about paying running backs closing in on the age of 30. You're weary about paying them a lot of big dollars. So, especially in a position that you can always find something in the draft that'll carry you over. You don't need to spend $3-4 million a year on a running back if you can go get some new kid that you're paying $800,000, but he's giving you maybe not the same production that a person like Matt Forte can give you. But he's going to get you close enough that it's worth saving the $40 million.
I'll tell you what, though, he was giving the Bengals problems, dude.
Well, it depends on how you look at that. Maybe that was their plan, because you look at it like this: Brandon Marshall did nothing against us, hurt us none. Eric Decker got the one touchdown catch, but other than that, they held him under control. The tight end didn't really kill us.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that if you put it in that perspective. Like Like, we're gonna make you beat us up front, but you're not gonna beat us over the top. And I'd rather go with that than beat us over the top like whatever was Washington's plan the other night, Monday night.
Yeah, the Washington's plan last night kind of comes like this. It's like show up, collect your paycheck, and leave. So they sure as hell didn't do much else on defense. But I thought our defense played, I thought the first quarter or so it took them a minute to figure out what the Jets were trying to do to them. And then once they figured it out, though, what the Jets were trying to do, I thought they played pretty okay. Like anybody else, the first quarter or so was kind of like, kind of got a leaky defense here. But you're talking about an offense with two great receivers, a great running back, kind of a journeyman quarterback, but a guy that threw up a lot of numbers last year. And so, all in all, I thought our defense played pretty well, but we'll definitely see how they play Pittsburgh on Sunday. But I think the defense, as it goes on throughout the year, they're gonna grow into themselves, and they'll be where they need to be.
The one good thing about us playing the Jets before Pittsburgh is they're kind of similar teams. Obviously, Ben Roethlisberger's on a different level, but as far as them having, the receiving threat out of the backfield, the runner, as far as D'Angelo Williams is kind of like a Matt Forte, how they're using him. Let D'Angelo Williams beat you, but we need to lock down Antonio Brown.
Well, or
he's slippery. You don't want to even give him like all those little catches because he'll still make it happen.
You either focus on Antonio Brown or you focus on everybody else with the knowledge that Antonio Brown's going to get some. I've seen that done before, and it works pretty decently well if you execute it right. And it all really depends is if you have a number one corner who feels confident enough that they know they're not going to contain Antonio Brown, but they know they can at least hold him under superpower numbers.
As long as you make them work for it, you know what? Then I'm okay with it. But don't be getting beat over the top constantly like they did yesterday.
No, I totally agree with that.
Because I do and the Bengals are guilty of this as well. There's been too many games when I watch the Bengals and I'm asking myself, where is the safety help? So I was asking myself that on Monday night when I was watching that game with the Steelers and the Redskins. Where is the safety help? Where is D'Angelo Hall over the top to help when Antonio Brown is just running right by the corner?
Yeah, you would think that you have to keep your eye on that guy at all times.
So if we can get some safety help, double team somebody over the top, play the safety back, something. Just don't let him beat you over the top. Do the same thing we did this week, but just be a little bit more efficient. We'll be good to go.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to assume that our defensive line is going to play a little bit better. We only got one sack this past week, so I'm hoping that increases. Get to Roethlisberger. It's just a matter of taking them down once you get there.
That's what I was going to say. I don't put much stock in the hoping to get a bunch of sacks on Ben Roethlisberger. That's just I've seen too many games for too many years.
I know, but I'm hoping for more than one sack.
Well, I'm always hoping for that, but in reality, what I'm hoping is they contain him in the pocket because he becomes a lot more dangerous when he feels that pressure and he slides out, giving that receiver an extra 2 or 3 seconds, and he always finds somebody 20 yards down the field. So,
and most of the time it's Antonio Brown. It's
going to be hard to keep him, to get sacks on him. What you want him to do is force him to throw from the pocket because he does have, the habit of throwing some up. He'll take risks, and it leads to some interceptions, and that's good. But he's a lot more dangerous when you get him out of the pocket. So you're looking at like guys like Marcus Hunt, who's going to be playing end at some points. And there are plays where he would lose containment, and he cannot do that against Ben Roethlisberger. You got to keep him in the pocket because that's where you'll get some of the mistake throws, where he'll put it up there for you. And then now your guys have just got to go up and make sure they get up there and get it.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that game though. That's gonna be a barn burner right there. That's gonna be a nail biter, rather.
Yeah, that's one of those games you just sit in the corner by yourself in your house and you watch it. Like you can't go to a sports bar, you can't go anywhere else, can't go to a friend's house, can't invite friends over. Like, you lock the doors, hunker down, get a bag of nachos, and you just sit and watch the show.
So can I talk about these color rush jerseys that were unveiled today?
It's the color rush jerseys that they're going to wear when they play on Thursday Night Football in a couple weeks against Miami. They're more like the white and black Bengal Tiger. And I'm going to tell you this right now. The minute they put those on the market, I got one. I'm buying that. I love it.
Are you feeling it?
I'm feeling it. Love it. They should have thought of that
Man,
many, many moons ago. They should have thought of that.
I'm a little bummed about it.
Why?
I see the appeal. I think it's kind of cool just for a change because the Bengals have looked the same for so long. But I was really hoping for a blacked out uniform, like black with black letters, or just like all black with like white letters. I was hoping the opposite.
But they got stuff but they have uniforms that's similar to that, though.
They have uniforms that's similar. I mean, the Bengals never going to step out of their comfort zone. They have the same thing. But what, with black pants?
No, not the way that uniform looks. No, they've never had nothing like that.
I'm looking at it right now. It looks just like the regular uniform. I'm looking at the I'm looking at the uniform, and Andy Dalton is standing right next to it in the regular Bengals uniform. It looks exactly the same.
No, it does not.
I'm saying
Not to me. I'm telling you what. I'm buying one of those jerseys when they hit the NFL shop. Like, I liked it a lot. And if anything, I think if you black out the whole uniform, everybody kind of does that. That's kind of like that's been like a trend for the last 3 or 4 years. So you know, it's nothing special, and it's supposed to be like a color out. Like, it's supposed to accentuate color. Not be like a blacked out uniform. Like some of those uniforms, the color rush uniforms, would hurt your eyes last year.
You're gonna go the opposite way. I mean, like you said, you're arguing that it should be color, then the Bengals should be orange, but it would just be super ugly.
No, but here's the thing: like, the Bengals already have one of the more louder uniforms in the NFL as far as color. Like, that orange is very bright. And so, and people always joke that the Bengals are like pumpkins and things like that. Like, it's a Halloween costume or whatever. Because of the orange and black. So I think it's kind of ingenious that, and I think it's great that they went with an all white. And you're talking about stepping out of comfort zones. That's a huge step out of a comfort zone. I mean, you have no orange on that uniform at all. And every uniform variation that they own, there's orange, placed into it. So I feel like it's way out of their comfort zone. And to be honest with you, that's why I like it. I think it looks clean. It looks fresh. It doesn't look like anybody else's uniform. I think it was a good choice. I thought that it was. I'm excited about watching them play in that uniform.
I'll agree with you on that. It doesn't look like anybody else's uniform because it still has the Bengal stripes on the shoulders there, but it does have a little bit of orange in it. But it's just in the logo and then in the name in the back.
Well. But it's not predominant anywhere.
No, it's very subtle.
So, I mean, I think it's really cool. And like I said, I mean, the minute I saw it, I was like, I'm buying one of those.
I just keep thinking about the 49ers jerseys that they came out with like 2 years ago. And they have like an all-black jersey. And I was like, man, that's like the coolest jersey I've ever seen. It's got like a little bit of red in it, but it's all black. I was like, man, that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm okay on stuff like that. When it comes to jerseys, I want my color, but... I mean, as long as nobody gets as ugly as those throwback Pittsburgh uniforms that look like bumblebees,
then we should be okay.
Those uniforms are the worst. I don't think there's a uniform worse in the sport than when they wear that uniform.
I don't hate it. I mean, it's ugly, but I get that it's a throwback, so I like that it looks like a throwback. As opposed to the Bengals don't have a throwback.
True. Okay, I got you on that one, but... I can see what you're saying because it definitely does look like a throwback.
So I like that. It reminds me of like when football players wore like leather helmets. So I think that's kind of cool about it.
Okay, all right, I can see on that, but there's got to be better throwback uniforms than something like that because that one makes you want to throw it back.
The Bengals should at least do a throwback with just the helmet, with just the Bengal on the side. I think that would be dope.
I agree with that. I would like to see that. To honestly, that's what would have made that the uniform they displayed today. That would have made it even dope. Do it put like a black and white old school Bengals helmet with no color?
I still stand by. I think the Bengals have the best helmet in the league. I think it's the coolest helmet.
What, the Bengal stripes?
Yeah, but with that being said, just for a throwback one game a year, it'd be cool to have the old logo with the Bengals with the tiger on the side. That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. And I also agree that I feel like our helmets are the coolest helmets in the league. I mean, they have I don't know. I mean, you got your old standbys. I mean, you got the Cowboys, but it's just a goddamn silver helmet with a star. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got, branding, because they built a good brand with the Cowboys, but, other than that, it's like, people are like, the Raiders helmet. And I'm like, I can give the Raiders some love. I still think our helmets look the coolest, but I think the Raiders got some love on that one. But, like the Niners and the Lions, and, you can go down the list of Packers. I just don't see their their helmets being better than ours. I just don't see it.
But with mostly everybody in the league, their helmets, they just have the logo on the side, and it's a wrap. So ours is one of the more like wraparound kind of designs, which is kind of cool, where it incorporates the entire helmet instead of just, let's put stripes on the top of this going down because we can't think of anything else, and then we'll just put a dolphin on each side.
Yeah, I like it. Even that's one of the things I loved about the Bengals when I was a kid is I loved their helmets. I thought their helmets were really cool. So I'd never, there's some people who are like, oh, the Bengals have the ugliest uniforms, and I'm like, you're smoking, dude. Like, their uniform is nice. But in either case, so to answer your initial question, I like the new uniform they debuted today. I thought style-wise it could be a little nicer, but I thought going away from color completely. And the thing is, like, you have to look at some of the last years where they did the color rush uniform. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Jets, and they had like this real neon lime green uniform that would cause you to have epilepsy. Like, it was unbelievably weird looking, and it made you not want to watch the game.
All right, Pete, let's end with that and get right into the name game. Who won this week? I don't think it was me on the weekly projections.
No, it was not you, my friend. We both didn't really, neither one of us would have broke the bank and be called an expert. And that's hard to do anyway before I even say what the record is, because it is week one, for crying out loud. And you really don't know what teams are until about week 3 or 4, when you start to get a good feeling for the season. I was thinking about that. So, at the end of the day, you finished with a 7-9 record. You were 2 games under 500, which gives me a nice lead for the year, because I finished 10-6.
Well, you know what that tells you. Don't guess on football with your heart.
With your allegiances?
Yeah.
I agree with you, because I was thinking about that when you were picking Washington, and you were like, I just want Washington to beat Pittsburgh. And I'm thinking, yeah, don't get me wrong, I do too.
But realistically.
But if I was a betting man, I would say that, Pittsburgh was going to beat Washington. And, I was right on that. We both missed that Carolina-Denver game, that opener.
And to be fair, we didn't really miss it. They missed it.
Touché, I like
that was just some BS. That and the New England game. But did we both pick New England to win anyway?
No, we both picked Arizona.
Oh, right. They played Arizona. Yeah.
The difference is the games that we picked different. I got both of the Monday night games. Detroit and Indianapolis. Detroit won that game, right?
Yeah.
In the last seconds?
Yep.
So I picked that one. You picked Indianapolis.
I picked Indy, yeah.
But you got me on the Giants-Dallas game because you picked the Giants and I picked Dallas. Yeah. And then on the Cleveland-Philadelphia game, I got that one because you picked Cleveland, I picked Philadelphia. Why in the hell would you pick Cleveland? And then the Oakland and New Orleans game, I got you on that because Oakland came back from behind. You had New Orleans and I had Oakland, so that was the difference in our week.
So all in all, a lot of good games this past weekend and a lot of close ones.
Yep.
A lot of last minute decisions.
Yeah, it was a good week overall for sure. I think you got me on the Minnesota-Tennessee game. I apologize, I didn't see that one. Where you picked Minnesota and I picked Tennessee because I wasn't really that sure where the quarterback situation was going with Minnesota, and so I thought Tennessee, I was trying to believe in the hype that they were going to be a good, solid running team, good defense, and that apparently is not the case.